do this real quick.
Oh yeah. Do we want to do it? Yeah, you can be. Perfect.
Stopwatch. There you go. What do we call the podcast again? Welcome to Four Dudes.
Later.
What was it? 4 dudes and 4 bowls of cereal.
Welcome to Fizzy Water and Body Bliss Apparel presents.
Yes.
Where it's this podcast is designed to explore movie series, TV series, documentary series, what makes them great, what doesn't make them great, what makes them bad to us, and just a real quick roll call. Let's start at the end.
Hey, Tony Bruno. Yeah, that's my name.
I'm Chuy.
Kyle Vincent Terry.
And I'm Vin Carlson Tran.
Oh, very nice. I see what you did there.
And this
I want to do my name over.
episode, we are doing the Fast franchise, dating back to 2001. Basically, an action franchise that started off as Point Break with fast cars, and now it's turned into basically real human superheroes.
Yeah.
Right? And the closest thing that we have to...
A real human is also starting to get a little...
Yeah.
Oh,
After
yeah.
5.
Well, I mean, like,
But then their spin-off was all about
Oh,
like
yeah,
a
yeah.
superhuman. So.
But also the closest thing that we have to the action franchises that we all fell in love with in the 80s and 90s, kind of like a la Predator, a la all these Schwarzenegger, Michael Dudikoff classics, if you will. And so we're going to be digging into that a little bit. So first things first, we want to start here and then work down. What's your thing? What's the thing about this film?
My thing is active diversity. I just want to talk about the fact that we live in a time where...
Do we? What year is it? Just in case you're watching this in the future,
Yeah.
this is 2020.
This will also apply in 2027.
Yeah.
But like,
Time immemorial.
Yeah. But we know, I know Tony also works in theater, and there have been so many panels, so many Zoom things, think pieces,
Lots of think pieces.
but mostly it's just people standing around and talking about what diversity is or anti-racism is, and these movies have continually, repeatedly, and at an increasing level, just brought in unique people from every spectrum of, cultural and ethnic backgrounds to amp the story up, and it always works.
And they're always heroes in sort of unexpected,
Right.
non-stereotypical ways.
Yeah.
Right. And so even cross-cultural ones, bringing in those the two reggaeton guys.
Yeah.
Don Omar.
Don
Yeah,
Omar
Don Omar
and Tego Calderon.
Yeah, and I'm just like, this is great, right? Like, it never feels forced. It never feels disingenuous. It just feels like this is the right person for the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Bring them in, and then let them flourish. Give them enough to, like, excel at what they do. And to me, I think these movies often get written up. I remember when we were at that grocery store that time after we saw Fast 5, and there was that cashier, like, yo, we saw Fast 5, and she was like, man, I was like, whatever, enjoy the Noam Chomsky Film Festival. But these movies are doing it right. Like, I think they can be, I think they can get written off as, like, shallow, but even the simple fact that they're action franchises allows all of these people to be active in the telling of this story, and people that we personally attach to. So that's my thing. I think they just do a really good job.
I feel like just to tack on to the last point, right? Like they are solid ensemble pieces from the first one all the way through the last one.
Right.
Like the idea of it being led, like definitely there are like more important characters,
Of course.
but they're ensemble pieces.
Yeah.
That really function that way.
Right. Chewy, what's your thing?
My thing is that I'm a big why person when it comes to media and art that I consume. Like, I need a why, or I at least need for you to give me the why or attempt at a why, and then let me process it from there, and then I'll go wherever you want to go. And the why in this franchise of Family that works for me and they sell really well allows me to believe that they can do all the crazy fun shit that they can do.
Right.
So that's my thing, is that like it's so ridiculous, but like the foundation of the why they can do all the stuff that
Right.
they can do is there for me. So it's like somebody telling you you can have this 17-layer chocolate cake and you're not going to gain any weight and it's going to be perfect. I'm like, I'm here for it. Let's go. I love that.
Can I add one quick
Yeah.
thing? Because I think a good, interesting part of the why is like when they bring in bigger people, right? Like you bring in The Rock and he's doing crazy stuff. You're like, I believe that, and you're also like, that's why I think everybody else can do it. Right?
Right,
Like I
right.
just brought
Yeah.
in a superhero.
Yeah,
So it's like, okay, that's the new rule.
Yeah, like breaking his broken arm out of a cast.
Yeah.
Daddy's got to go to work.
Yeah.
Just a side note. I thought you were really excited about something about cake. You
I
bounced
just-
towards him when he made that reference. Like
We
you were
know
like,
Kyle's like pretty
into cake.
Usually, always about cake.
Yeah.
So yeah, what's your thing, Tom?
I think my thing about it is, like I think there's a little bit of both of what they're saying drizzled on top of just the fact that they never take themselves serious to a point where they lose the fun about them.
Mm-hmm.
I think from the beginning, they knew that, right, like the fun part about the movie was when they raced and the anticipation of who's gonna win, and like and that kind of winner loser, who's first, who's second, like always sits in those films. It's always part of what they do, so it's always fun, right? Like you're always there's always going to be a joke. There's always going to be a way that they get out of it. You're never worried that they're going to fail.
Right.
The anticipation is there that they may, but I mean, they're
It's
going to
almost
come
like,
out.
Right.
how did they get there? Because
Yeah, and
like,
it's
what else
gotten
they'll do. Right.
it's gotten crazier and crazier every film. Like what it is that happens. Usually there'll be like something completely insane that is your like what would for a normal franchise be a jump the shark moment, but like literally they just have more.
They can't.
Right, they can't
it's
jump the shark.
impossible.
It's like every
But it
episode.
makes it more like even in the preview for
Yeah.
the next one,
Oh.
they catch a fucking car with a helicopter and
with
then
a hook.
another one hooks
Tarzan's.
around. But like
The chain actually leaves the winch and he catches it.
Well, I mean, so to
but to my
Yeah,
point
it was
is
fire.
it just
Yeah.
like that trailer alone, when that trailer
Yeah,
dropped
yeah,
and we
yeah.
saw that,
The music in
you were like, this is gonna be so much fun
Yeah,
because
right.
it's gonna be so crazy. So like
Right.
like they never shy away from it from the beginning, right? Like because it's Point Break
Right.
with cars, but then they're like, how can we amp up the fun?
Yeah, and I think what you guys are talking about is really interesting because it's kind of like these two things that are really, really foundational to the film series, which is this emotional, this heart, this core of it, which explains how outrageous and absurd everything around these people can get, and it makes it so that, like to your point, it's believable that they would do that for the people who they consider to be their family. Which kind of leads me to my next question, which is, explain this franchise in 9 words or less?
Do I have to count? Is someone gonna count words for
Yep.
me? Because, or should I do it beforehand?
No, do it.
Will
do
you
it.
stop me at 10 words if I start saying words?
Yeah, you have to speak slowly though, because I don't know if I can.
Oh shit. Okay, hold on. I should have prepped. You can skip me.
shit.
I'll come back around.
Nah, I don't want to go first again.
I just need one word, man. It's family. This franchise is about family. Like, if you are a person that I know I'm expounding on my one word, but like the reason that the word is that word is because like this, you guys are my family, and like on that show in those movies, it's the same random collection of different nationalities and genders with different skill sets to do different things. It's super like, or if you just like your family, like there's moments where there's a brother and a sister. It's like the world of the thing is family, and from there they take it wherever the hell. The things that you will do for your family with the skill sets that you have is insane.
Nice.
Got it. Aesop Rock album, Fast Cars, Danger, Fire and Knives, Family Over Fortune.
Oh,
Oh.
there you go.
Family
I
Over
said
Fortune is
family.
awesome.
That was
Well,
enough.
Shut up. Nobody can hear you through that mask.
In 2027,
shut
when
up,
I'm the
Calvin.
only one around, you'll see why.
When this is a one person
Yeah.
in their cereal.
What do you think? Oh,
Yeah, we'll talk that family shit then.
Yeah, where's your family now?
My 8
All right,
words
I'll
is
do mine. Familia,
Oh!
That's a totally different word, by the way.
Yeah.
Totally different.
Cars, Wow, Sexy, Funny, Technological.
Oh,
so many syllables.
I like
I
it.
have 3
You
more.
got 3 left.
I needed to check.
I guess you did say words and not a sentence. I was stuck for a sentence here. We were doing
I
that.
was thinking about
fucked up.
something
You
when
fucked
you
up.
said
Yeah,
words.
that's it.
And
Well, I'm
then
happy with my answer.
Vin Diesel, awesome.
There you go.
There he is. All right, mine was family always comes first, even when they don't.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's very profound,
It
Vin.
is.
I like
It
that.
is. So
I don't know what it means, but yeah.
it doesn't mean. It actually doesn't mean shit. It's
No,
kind of
it
like
means
these are-
everything.
That's a
Yeah.
Busta Rhymes lyric if I ever heard
Yeah,
it.
that's right.
That's
Don't-
dope.
That's
Don't
where he
know
got
what
it
that
from.
Don't rap genius that shit. Doesn't mean that.
Yeah.
Don't rap
Old
genius.
DB could have come up with that too.
Uh,
God made dirt and dirt bust your ass.
That's true though. Dirt does.
Dirt
bust
does,
your ass.
yeah.
so, kind of like jumping off of words that you were throwing out, which describe the franchise: funny, sexy. We've kind of been circling around this diversity, active diversity. To your point, I think as progressive as this series is, what do you guys see are problematic things about this series? Like, what are things that kind of aren't there all the way, either on purpose or not? You know, what are things that are kind of like missing the mark?
For me, that's always been an easy one. I know that the second I say what I'm about to say, viewer, I'm gonna get attacked from my right. There's always been, like, I enjoy the eye candiness of all the women all over the place, but there are times where I do feel like they straddle this line of like salaciousness just for like the sake of it, and and that's
Like every time they go to an underground street race, and it's just like butts
Yeah.
for the whole intro.
Obviously,
That's
you've never
fine.
been to an underground street race.
I mean, I'm gonna because that's one of my big ones, and I will say it's not a straddling. It's like they have this very problematic relationship with feminism.
yeah.
Where they
Which bloody
do.
rescues.
Well, that's part of the issue, right? Like, there's a scene.
404.
There's an awesome scene where Letty is fighting.
Gina
Carano.
Gina. Is it Gina Carano?
Yeah,
No, isn't
She's
it?
also in it. Is it
Oh,
either her or Ronda
Ronda
Rousey?
Ronda
Ronda
Rousey.
Rousey.
Ronda Rousey.
She
Where
fucks
she's
both
where
up.
she's fighting. Well,
They
yeah,
both got it.
but the scene specifically where she's fighting Ronda Rousey is like this. It's like you're like, oh man, this is awesome, and then it goes into the next room and it's literally butt cheeks. Like there's a scene where like the shot begins on butt cheeks, and like it's something that I had to wait till it came out on DVD to like confirm, because I watched it in theater and I was just like,
Confirm.
did that like the shot started on an ass, like it didn't start and then like pass by one, it started
Like,
there
bow.
and then panned, and I think that kind of like is the thing, right? Like they want it to be sexy, but they don't understand. I think there's a misunderstanding that sexy is anything but women's bodies being shown.
Okay, so I sorry, I don't want to be.
No, go for it.
But I want to offer up a challenge because it's part of the thing that I think is less and less problematic over the arc of the series.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? So, like, I think it started from a place where I actually hesitate to call it problematic because clearly it's geared toward a certain clientele.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, like, to me, it
is a product.
I would think it would be problematic if it were like they were like trying to get everybody to watch it.
But they are though.
But I don't think they are.
I mean, but even if they don't think, like, look at if someone's gonna go out and make like a song about hating Jewish people and they're marketing it to Nazis, it's still problematic. It doesn't mean it's not problematic because they're only marketing to those guys.
Okay, all right, fair enough. But I also think that like if we look at the arc of the series, it actually does less of that while increasing the roles of the women in the narrative. It takes a long time to build.
Self-aware.
There's a reason. There is an awareness that got us to Cypher,
Right?
You know, in those last two films. So like I absolutely agree with you.
Yeah.
But it's also something that I also think that they're actively correcting along with
Right. They're staying accountable to it, which, you know, that's why it's like not when you're looking. Honestly, you look at the series, and when you think about problematic, it is one of the harder series to find something that you're like, this is problematic. Because even look at like Justin Lin was the one who like revived, not I say revived, but like, you know, created what it became, which was this like insane sensation versus being like because it, I mean, you know, after the it was just Fast and Furious 4, right? Or it was Fast and Furious.
Yeah, that was Fast and Furious.
After that one, it wasn't like, you know, the thing that it became after Fast 5. But you look at that and you're like, okay, well, that's important, right? Not being like, oh, we need Michael Bay or the guy who just died.
I've always, and I've been looking for the way to make this point because it kind of fits a couple times in the way that we describe these things. I've always seen these movies and the ensembles and the people involved in like making these films as I always, in my mind, I see them as a band and they're releasing a new album. Like that's how every movie comes out to me. And so like I always see them that way.
I like that.
I always see them that way because then if you look at the filmography as a discography and like you swap out producers for like band members and stuff, like you kind of see that like the early works are like, you can see that they don't have the money to like for all the recording equipment and all the other crazy stuff to do the big crazy stuff, but then they get at a certain point they get their Rick Rubin and like they're in the big stuff, and so like part of the way that I love these movies is like I look for them like the next album, and it's really great to me that way, and I didn't know how to like bring that point in there.
No, that's good.
That's how I see that.
I didn't think about it that way, but that's dope.
Yeah, I was trying to really figure out when I asked the question whether or not you could honestly say that women were used as props in these films, and I think certain times they are, right? I think certain times they exist sort of incidentally to the male characters that they're around. And I think the point that you guys brought up, that it's sort of self-correcting, is really interesting because I don't know if that's true, and maybe I'm just trying to be difficult, but I don't know if Letty Ortiz is a full character. I don't think she is. I think she exists to purely be like the lapdog for Dom, right? And I don't know if she has any agency, right? I don't think she has.
She doesn't even have a memory.
And so
that was a horrible accident. We're lucky she's still alive, and you're worried about a memory.
But we are lucky. I agree.
I don't know if I use lucky.
But even sort of like what's her name? Misande. What's her character's name? Riley, something like that. Whatever. She's also kind of just. She's almost like she's a human MacGuffin. Ramsey. She's like a human MacGuffin, right? Like she's kind of this thing they have to get, and then they have to protect her, and she doesn't really have any agency. She's kind of like slapped into this world. Whereas I feel like the male characters are given at least some depth. They have a little bit more development to the characters. You know, like there's clearly what Ludacris is, and clearly what Tyrese is, right? Those guys are different people.
At a certain point, they start letting her shut both of them down, though, which I kind of like. Like they didn't just give her to one of them.
I would also say that she Ramsey, I'm speaking of, is like being introduced.
She's got
the same way
that was her introduction.
Yeah, you kind of have
series.
like you have like
The
whatever
Rock.
will happen with her later. Like she gets the little bit of stuff it's tied to her relationship with men, but of course it's going to be tied to her relationship with men.
It's Hollywood.
It's Hollywood, and it's made by dudes.
Right. I think what you're saying is super interesting, especially because I watched Fast 5 last night, and it is like this. The reason I said it, I was telling them earlier that like it was just the perfect example of what I wanted from it. I forgot how much of like a perfect crux it is to the entire series, right? Because it takes the best from what happened before it and it prepares you for everything that's happening after.
Right.
But you have, and I think it's funny because you have all of these, they're like, we need a team. And they start introducing people. And Han and Gal Gadot, Giselle,
yeah,
like have no
They don't do shit.
no reason to be there. They
Nope.
literally are there
neither
to
of them
fall
give
in
a
love
fuck
with
about
each other.
that.
yeah.
And it's so because it's so funny. Like even Tego Calderon and Don Omar, they come in and they're joking and they're
just
like
like, do
these
stuff.
two things,
Yeah.
but like they're like, hey, they're gonna be the guys who blow things up.
Yeah.
At first you think they're gonna fight things, but no, they blow up poop. But like
They're
you know,
comic relief.
Han
Right.
and Han and Giselle literally just go to get a handprint by having him touch her ass, and like that's the only thing they do. They drive around a little bit.
So you're saying they did something?
But the thing is, they're not even introduced in the film as having a purpose.
Right.
Like they don't
Right.
have a separate purpose
Right.
than anyone could have done that because it could have been any of the other person. They could have come up with some other scheme to get his handprint.
So they're the Joey Fatone of the group. They're-
Oh, whoa! Joey Fatone is doing way
He
more
was-
than the
he
rest
was
of
the
the
basic
right now.
Joey Fatone was
He's got his
base,
own.
right?
Well, he's got his own show right now.
But anybody could have done that at the time. Like,
Have their own show? No. You're talking about the little one, the one that looked like a munchkin. That guy.
who's the guy?
Who Lance Bass?
Is he the
No.
AJ then?
Oh,
AJ.
Lance
Was
Bass.
AJ that part of that group or part of?
I don't think AJ was in that group.
Oh, maybe
He
I'm
was
thinking
I mean,
about
Backstreet
Backstreet
Boys.
Boys.
Yes. So that's why I gave you AJ.
Oh, with the dude with the facial hair?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
Who eventually
only
had
one that we
dreads.
don't know his name. It was
Who's
Justin
AJ?
Right. Who
Justin
eventually had white
Timberlake.
dreads, right?
Lance Bass
yeah.
was more important because he like came
Right.
out and that was a big thing.
Yeah.
Joey
Oh.
Fatone
No,
has
the other
a
guy
show.
can sing. I know the guy you're talking about.
JC
Yeah, but you don't even know his
JC.
name.
JC.
JC Chazet?
Yeah.
He was not
He
short.
can sing.
He had his
No, I
own
was
Yeah.
thinking about the Backstreet Boys with it. But yeah,
Yeah, I know what you're talking- I know what
Lance
you're
Bass
talking
was like
but
the
if you're
chaperone.
talking,
He was
no,
like
no.
35.
No,
I mean,
but if
Joey
you're talking
Fatone.
about anyone could do that, JC Chazet is exactly the anyone could do that because he was just another singer. And what did he do? He released a solo album. Any of them could have
And
done
nobody
that, but
listened to it.
not all of them could have gone
First
to
of all,
do
drive
a.
myself
Gal
crazy.
Gadot,
he blows it out of the
Gal
water.
Gadot does Wonder Woman now.
Isn't that
Right, and
That's
it's not.
insane.
It's not to say that she can't.
Young
It's just
Cannibals?
she wasn't given anything to do. I think that character.
She drives me.
Many of them were written to just be sort of.
So here's my take on that. There was
collateral.
couples that were gonna go see this movie, or people that were going on a first date that like needed a vehicle and a way in. And plus, he was in the movie, and he had to show up. If your boys called, you might not have something to do, but you got to be there. Like, you got to
You
show
talking about
up.
Han?
Yeah.
Oh no, for sure. I love Han and Giselle, and I love their love. They're
love
great.
their love.
Oh yeah, it's great.
When
I
he
think
falls off
it's
the wing, when she
Oh,
falls off the
my
wing.
God.
Yeah. No, I
On
mean
the
just
74-mile runway.
29.
They have more runway than a
Oh,
tech
that's right,
startup.
yeah.
They did the math. It's a 29-mile runway.
But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like, and maybe it's not just women, but I think a lot of the characters sort of exist incidentally and not sort
Yes.
of with purpose.
incidentally
think
to Dom,
To Dom and the main sort of characters.
yeah.
I think there are very many sort of male characters that are introduced, and they kind of have a purpose. And they, like to your point, they have specific skills that they do,
Ludicrous.
and they lead lives. And you can imagine them and see them leading lives outside of what happens, right? Whereas, like, aside from like basically, you know, googling Dom 24/7, like Letty kind of doesn't do anything, right?
Nah, she doesn't.
Aside,
She comes back from not remembering anything.
Nah, she doesn't. She's like, you know what?
and you know,
I think I remember.
aside from like making out with Han while he drives in Europe, like Giselle
Giselle
doesn't
doesn't
do
do
much,
And
like
she
I know
gets
Han,
that
and,
handprint.
and Han doesn't do much either. But I don't like the thing is it's not like what they do for the mission. It's just like they don't have a role like they don't have
But
lives.
they're also skilled. That's the weirdest thing. The scene where they get the handprint, they both do detective work. They read each other, and she's like, "Oh, something about you smoking," because he's eating, and he's like, I don't remember what he says because I was.
He used to smoke because he eats a lot of chips.
Yeah, but like it's such a useless thing.
I'm still gonna offer up the challenge that there are more women doing stuff, right? Like,
sure.
we can't forget Nieves because why would we forget her? She does her thing. She's got like a legit job, and she's like ride or die, even when it means not riding. She's like, I know you gotta go back.
Sure.
I know you gotta go back. I get it. By the way, I'm pregnant. And you're like, come on, fam.
She's like, but don't worry about it. I'm good.
Go be in love with someone else. We're cool.
I'll take care of this baby.
Yeah, I'm good though. And then you have Gina Carano, who's the mole, right? Like for Owen Shaw.
Yes.
For Owen Shaw, she's the mole for Owen Shaw. She's been working on.
She's
been working on the rock scene
the worst
whole
single
time.
actor in the history of the franchise.
That's not what she's there for. She's there to fight.
Yeah,
That's
she's there
fine.
to fight.
She's there to
She's
fight.
good at it.
I just hate her.
And
Look,
all right,
that
I do want
movie
to
is a
offer up
travesty.
this. I want to offer up this because, like, we gotta be honest about this. To a certain extent, I understand the concept of like, yes, we recognize the problematic nature of like objectifying beautiful women doing nothing. But I will say this, and look, hate me if you will, but you know, respectfully, eat a dick. When people have money, there are a lot of those women around. So like when I get into Fast 7, when they're in Abu Dhabi, I'm like, that's kind of what that scene would fucking look like.
Sense.
Right? Like that's kind of what that would look like.
Right.
I'm not. I think my pushback to that is it's not the accuracy of what that room would look like. It's the cinematography around
Just with the butt cheek.
Yeah.
But,
Around
no,
the butt.
I get you.
That's where I come from, right?
Like
Like,
Right.
the literal objective.
Yeah, because
Unless
no,
it's like
because
a
I
callback
think-
to Tim
I think
Burton's
that they-
Batman, like
bam, like around the body, around the rubber suit. No, I because I agree. I think that they do a lot of work to hold themselves accountable each time around. It still is a movie made by dudes, so it's always centered around dudes. But they, they're not. I think they're never passing that test where it's
The Bechdel test?
Yeah, they're never gonna pass the Bechdel
They're
test.
never going to pass the Bechdel test.
There's not enough characters
Yeah.
that are in the same
There
movie.
ain't enough time.
Well, there's plenty of time.
I really want them to pass it in one movie though. Where
Just
it's
one?
Like, just one. Like put
And
it in
that's like the
9.
worst
It wouldn't-
performing movie of the
No, I
like
mean,
never.
it
no one
literally
goes to see
would
it.
not be difficult because it could be a scene where
They're
like
just solving something.
what they like Letty's working on a car and then one of the other other women come in and talk about the car.
It needs to be 20 minutes though. According
Also,
to
for
the
everyone who
Bechdel
doesn't
test,
know what
20
this is,
minutes.
can you guys please explain?
Okay, so the Bechdel test was created by I can't remember what her first name is, but she's a comic book writer. Like she wrote like graphic novels.
Yeah.
And
Is it Bechdel?
She's queer. Like her
Something
her
Bechdel?
last name is Bechdel. I
There
can't
we
remember
go.
what her first name is.
We'll just call her Miss Bechdel.
Ms.
Mix.
Mix.
Mix?
Mix is the old term.
Yeah.
But so she came up with
I'll go with it.
a theory that like popular media, in order to meet the requirements of like contemporary society, should feature, I believe it's 20 minutes of dialogue between two female characters where they're expressly not talking about men or in dialogue with men.
I thought it was like 20 sentences. I thought it was
it's
really
like-
low bar.
It's not nearly as low as you think.
I mean,
not
that's
saying
also
that's wrong.
that's also a low bar that a lot of movies.
her
would
name
not
is
reach.
Allison.
Alison Bechdel.
Right.
Um,
Also, that would fail with any scene with Letty because she basically only talks about Dom.
Yep.
Well,
Or
but
not
if she was like
remembering
the
anything.
regulator,
And not
on This Is
remembering
Out.
What's up?
If she was just like, I'm having issues with the alternator, and then like the movie just features 1 minute every like now and then, just 20 different instances
Yeah,
of
it
where
doesn't
they're
have to
working
be
on
one
a
thing.
car.
It doesn't
That's
have
what,
to be
that's what
one-
I'm saying.
It doesn't
But
have to be one 20-minute
and it
film.
literally would just,
I
it
mean-
would be so easy for them to pass that test.
They could just be teamed up.
right,
You
trying
could
to
just
fight the
team
bad
them
guy.
up to do a thing, and it would work.
Right.
Right? Like, all right, you two go off. You're responsible for diffusing whatever.
Or hacking this
thing.
computer.
hack into the,
Main
They
frame.
both
Khalifa.
like type on the same keyboard
Yeah.
at the same time, like, oh my god, oh my god. And they're like, oh,
Chopsticks.
They were doing it in university, and they'd have to go in the office, and the door would close, and it'd be on the room, and it'd be like Bechtel, Professor Bechtel, like.
there it
Right,
is.
right. Just so
Well,
they let
yeah,
everybody
we'll
know we're doing it.
So speaking of passing and failing tests, I think this might be a
Solid
good
segue.
time to talk about what's your favorite episode and what's the worst episode, or the best worst or favorite least favorite.
My favorite for the most part, up until I reconsidered, was 5, but I actually think it's 7 now.
7 is the first one with, or
No, 5 is the first one with Hobbs, with Luke Hobbs.
Right.
7 is the one in Abu Dhabi.
that's the one with Clive, or
That's the last one with Paul Walker.
Yeah.
right.
the
But
one
what's
where
his
they-
name?
Declan
With
Shaw.
Deckard
Yeah,
Shaw.
Deckard Shaw.
Shaw.
That's where he gets introduced. Yeah,
I felt like that one was
it's a good one.
balanced,
Yeah.
really balanced.
The car
And
going
the
from
fucking
one
car
building
fucking
to
I was like, they're
That's
not.
the Lamborghini from
Yeah,
building
yeah,
the
yeah.
building?
Whatever
build-
it
yeah,
is,
build- yeah.
that was bad, bro.
I also remember watching that being like, oh yeah, they're just gonna jump the building, and I was like, oh shit, they're jumping a second building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved 5, and then I thought about it. I was like, 7's pretty tight. 7's pretty tight. I'm gonna hold off on my worst episode until we get there.
For me, it's still 5. Like, that kind of takes us.
Yeah.
It's the jumping off. It's where they found their sound, and they're like, okay,
Yep.
this is the rest of the albums are gonna be some version of this.
yeah.
That's where it takes off like COVID cases in Texas.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm watching it again last night just confirmed that it is 5. I love everything that comes after, and I think 7 is phenomenal. I just like for all the
Yeah.
reasons that Chewie had. It's
I
just
disagree.
right, like it's the point where they just
it's
go
just-
from like linear to
That
exponential
hyperbola
growth.
hits.
Yeah.
So
Asymptote. That's the word. Right?
What?
In math?
I don't know.
What?
No, that's
oh,
Yeah.
It's a
asymptote
parabola,
doesn't sound like
no?
a
No, the point.
at
where
the point at which
where-
the
where the
exponential
curve
growth.
The inflection point, right?
I'm just a lowly cook.
Yeah. I'm
I
also
don't have
not
postgraduate
really Asian.
degrees.
Can't answer that.
I'm not that kind.
Not the kind. I'm jungle Asian, not the fancy Asian. I think I will still say that my favorite one is the first one. I think that's, to me, I know I love all the later stuff, 5, 6, 7. I think the sort of jumping the shark and all these things are great. I love those movies. I think they're a ton of fun. I think 1 still sets up for me, just like, probably has the most pound for pound, like, moments of absolute raw emotion
Yeah.
that sets up Dom as the character that will drive this, and it sets up the romance between Dom and Brian that kind of continues and actually is to me, the rightful driver of the remaining films. So and we talk about family and all that stuff, but I think it's that love story between those two guys that really makes this thing run, and just moments where, where Dom sort of explains his father, getting off the track, and he beats the guy up or kills the guy, whatever. This sort of like dogged, absolute blind commitment to his family becomes, the thing that really drives the series for me. So I would say 1's my favorite still.
Yeah.
Fair.
It's a
I
good,
Yeah, the first one sucks, bro.
no.
Oh yes, let's
I
do
just
it.
real
Go
quick.
ahead, go.
I wasn't.
Go.
I laughed not at you, but at remembering Dom talking about his father in the 5th one.
Yeah.
The barbecue.
Yeah, well, he's talking about
couldn't go
that,
if
but
you
then he
didn't go
goes,
to church.
"I remember everything about my dad," and you're just like, "What?" This is a weird way to
Is
say
that when they're on the balcony?
bro.
It's like him and Brian.
yeah. He goes, "Oh yeah, blah blah blah," and he goes, "I remember everything about my father." And you're like, "This is a weird time for you to do different things with your
Yeah.
voice. Just keep
Louis
grumbling."
Armstrong was in
He
this.
also he also says father. Great. He goes father.
I think the first one.
had barbecues.
I think the first one sucks, dude.
Is that your least favorite?
It's my least favorite.
Get it.
Question. Which one of you still owns a DVD player?
I don't.
I do not.
I do.
They did it for you. They stole DVD play. That's the.
Oh yeah.
They were stealing DVD players.
Those boxes were so big too. It's like, damn, that's a big ass DVD.
Like, ain't no changer, nothing.
just
Single
the
disc.
player.
That looks like a receiver. Nah, the first one sucks to me. Here's why. I feel like the first one is like, when I come across hipsters who are like, yo, you want to write? You should try it on a typewriter. It's just so far removed from the technology of the other films. And I get it. I kind of understand it, but like, every time I rewatch it, it feels so heavy-handed. Like, it feels so heavy-handed to me, and like, in a way that like reminds me of dudes that I don't want to talk to. like the
This got roved. The number one is very personal for you.
The muscle car culture of the first one feels so like alien to me, almost like prohibitively so. I'm like, these motherfuckers right now are out there fucking with tiki torches right now. Like it's so hard. It's
just like thousands of people.
Yeah,
I mean,
some of them are good people.
What I was gonna say,
so on both sides.
Like you look at what, because one is the thing that spawned like all of those like street outlaw shows, and where they do that is like Oklahoma and
it's just so hard.
Mississippi and.
Like I'm not yucking a yum, right? Like I mean, you know, whatever people connect to, they connect to. But it's just like so hard for me to, especially after like it has no replay value to me at all anymore, right? Like I can't go back and watch one and be like, I'm into this. I'm like, bro, these motherfuckers.
So is that? If
They're not even killing anyone.
Is that basically because you just don't fuck with the car culture, and then the movies afterwards sort of remove themselves mostly or in part?
In part,
from
right?
the
Like
car culture?
I think
Like
I
that's
think
kinda
the first stuff doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't connect for me,
Right.
and I think the only way I can think of explaining it is that the muscle in it is less refined. It's like a bulkier movie, right? Like things get a little sleeker after that, and to me that feels a little bit more resonant. The first thing is just kind of like, we race cars. We need a.
If you erase Too Fast, Too Furious from the existence of the franchise, nothing happens.
Sure.
I don't care about that.
Agreed.
I hate that movie.
Like that's
It's
cool.
dumb.
Yeah.
I think it's. I agree with you, except we don't get Tej. We don't get Tej.
No, he can
I'm
come
hungry.
back.
You can introduce him at any point.
You can literally
He's
introduce
not-
him.
He's not there. He's only introduced in 2.
But here's the thing: you could just literally in 5 be like, "Oh, this is a guy I worked with," and then he'll be like, "Hey, oh, I'm not in for this money," and then you'll be like, "Oh, okay, I get this guy's character. He's just
Yeah. Also, the character he plays in 2 is almost entirely different than the
Completely
one that he plays for the rest of the
Completely
film.
different.
So basically, you could erase it.
Yeah, like I mean, I'm not saying the 2 can't be erased. I'm just more likely to rewatch 2 than watch 1. Also,
It's because
I
you
think
don't
you just
like
don't
to
like
feel
Asians.
emotions very much. I
I
know
think you just don't like
I know how
Asians and
powerful
car race
this one
culture in
is.
Southern
no, that's not
California.
2.
That's not-
That's
No, I
3.
think he just has
It
like
isn't
one.
true, it isn't.
Whereas like Asians car race culture in Southern California.
Oh,
Johnny
yeah.
Tran.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're just racist against Asians. That's all it is.
I mean, look,
But he did a show.
be what it be.
I don't think
You
it'd be
were
like
in
it
it.
is, but it do.
Jacques!
Jacques! I retract my statement.
I mean, I haven't. I don't
Done a
even.
show
I don't
about-
even
Oh, wait, I was
remember
confusing
the
it with
2
Tokyo
through
Drift.
4.
No, Tokyo Drift is fun. I like Tokyo Drift.
2, I mean, we get Roman.
Again,
Yeah,
he
I
can,
mean,
he
I would
can come
probably.
back anyway.
Out of what I remember watching, I would have to say 1, not because it's the worst, but just because it's the worst out of the ones that I like. Just because it's just not. You know, they don't murder anyone.
Nobody gets murdered.
They don't murder anyone. They like
Jesse gets murdered.
every movie now they
Jesse
they
gets
murder
murdered.
so many.
He gets gunned down.
That's one
That's one.
person.
Expendable.
And he's
Like
He's
in the
the one
in
that
the
he
opening
takes-
It's not
scene.
even a debit to the
kicks
account.
off.
And
He
the-
kicks off. He's the one that makes Dom go. Hey, that's it. That's Dom's
Yeah,
no
but I'm
longer going
saying-
to stay at 1327, whatever that street is. He's got to go from that point.
I'm
Like
not
that-
saying that I don't enjoy it. I'm not saying that I don't respect it. What I'm saying is, there's not enough explosions. There's not enough murder, like straight up murder. Because here's the thing, they're never they're never officers. Well, later on they become some kind of
Deputized?
officers, but like in
They're the
5,
A-team.
in 5 they kill
by the way.
so many people,
Yeah, yeah.
so many people. Like they kill everyone in the streets with that
do
safe.
not,
I was about to say, how many-
I
how
do
many
not
you
need
got
there to be
before?
murder for me to enjoy the films.
I need murder. Anyway, but
I'm just saying.
just saying.
I'm
Here's
saying
the
the stakes. The stakes are
I
so
got
low.
a problematic thing. This movie falls into the same camp of movies where they're like, we need renegades who don't understand the rules of law enforcement to do police work. That's a problem. Huge problem.
Yeah.
All those movies that
Yeah.
do that are huge problems. New Jack City, I like it, but it's a huge problem. Anytime when they're like, we need people not trained at the specific thing
Yeah.
to go
out.
in.
But
Yeah.
that's what
and
we
like-
have training day for. We're fine.
No, that's a bad cop. Like, that's a bad cop. That's a different thing.
Yeah.
This is along the lines of fucking Armageddon, where it's like, we need some drillers to go into
Yeah.
space. It's
Some
so
miners.
much harder to be an astronaut. Teach the astronauts how to drill.
But that's why the
Don't get
the
Blue
miners are
Eyes mad at
expendable.
me.
The miners are expendable.
Like,
Try it with them first, and then you send up the astronauts. And be
Earth
Yeah, but
is not.
this is before SpaceX. They didn't have like reusable
Yeah.
rockets.
yeah.
It was one shot.
So 1 is your least, 2 is yours. Yours is 1 as well?
Yeah, here's my one is one just
It's
because
just-
All right.
it's just there at the beginning.
there.
You know, it's like the
We all
first
get
chapter in a
Tokyo
book.
Drift love. That's crazy.
No, I don't
love
even
it.
count Tokyo Drift, to be quite honest. I didn't enjoy the film. I thought it was silly.
I've never really watched it all the way through.
Yeah.
I've kind of like
It
you know,
might jump up on your list if you watch.
I probably will. I mean, I like the little guy from
Oh, I was
Lil
in
Bow
it.
Wow?
no, not
No,
Bow Wow. No, the little guy with the New Orleans accent. Everything he
Oh,
I
acts.
don't
in.
want your life.
Yeah, he's in
Uh,
everything. He can't get rid of the accent. He's the only actor who continues to
Black.
get. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
But he's always talking like this because
Yeah.
he's from New Orleans.
My daddy sent me to Japan.
Like every
what he says
show
every
is the
scene,
same.
right?
Every
Yeah.
show he's in
Like,
is
I
always
was a
that.
troublemaker back home, so my dad sent me to Japan.
You ain't my daddy.
You know what that
I was
movie
like,
super
who's his
problematic.
uncle that he gets all these roles?
Yeah,
you know
he's bad.
somebody.
I think maybe my least favorite is some mixture of 2 or 8. I just think that it has to have Paul Walker and Vin. I think if you lose one of them, it becomes really, really tough. I think having one of them, they don't have that thing to kind of pull them, and it doesn't, like, you know, like, you get the family part, which is fine, but like the fact that Dom would do all these things for Mia and Brian, I think the fact that Brian would go and do all these things to kind of like bring Letty back, all those things really happen with those two guys, and when they're not together, it becomes like Roman's funny, and that's great, and it's fine, and 2 is fine, right? I enjoy the hell out of it, and in 8, I was like, oh yeah, this is different. It feels different, right? It feels like now we're like in Marvel land,
Yeah.
and it's not
For sure.
Yeah.
fast. It doesn't have the same sort of heart. So I think that's for maybe 2 or 8.
But he does it for the baby.
But that's his own baby. And it's not.
And guess what? Your own baby is your family, Vin.
Nah,
and you saying
nah,
that your
nah. It's
Familia
not.
even.
Nah.
familia even. That's a different word entirely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe you're right.
But they
maybe
mean the
maybe
same
my
thing.
kids. Maybe my baby is my child and my family. Maybe you're right.
Yeah.
You know. Maybe
I feel
Your
you on
baby
that.
isn't
I
your
just want to
family, I don't know
say
about that.
Paul Walker's dead, so he's not gonna be in another movie. We
Right.
have to like accept
right.
the Fast and Furious. You can't just be like giving up on it now.
Right, but I think at this point now it's a different thing, right? I think it's Marvelized, where it's just sort of this fun money making sort of like empty thing. To me, and I'm not saying that to everybody else, but to me, it's sort of this. Hey, you know, the stakes are, you know,
I'm gonna
the
tell you-
hundreds of people that get murdered, the random aliens on a green screen over here, blah blah blah. It's fine, but it doesn't have that same.
I'm just now beginning to enjoy the franchise in the way that I always wanted to, because in my mind, besides this band analogy, the other one that I had was that, like, if we can get white people can get them fucking 20 James Bonds, like, we're going. We're just now at the point where I'm like, we're halfway through. I got another 10 or 15 of these Fast and the Furious is coming. So, like,
Yeah.
I've never been in a point where, like, I knew it was gonna have to change. We were gonna have to lose people, and the band was gonna switch up. But, like, I need me another 5 or 6 at least.
Sure.
Here's a question for you. After
No, I asked the questions, motherfucker.
no,
Not
I
you.
just based
No,
on
he
based
does.
on your. I know he
Just ignore
does.
him now.
Yeah, but I just want to ask you a question. Based on your right, like, oh, it has no heart. Like, I get when Letty comes back, that's like the drive for 6.
Right.
But 7, they just get caught in it and they do one more job. Why is Paul Walker there? He's risking his life for his family, but like it's not specifically having to do with a need. There's no actual need for them to do what
Right,
they're
right,
doing
right.
after 6.
What was the premise for 7? That was.
That was where the brother comes back and tries to.
Oh, that
Deckard comes through.
that
Yeah,
Deckard comes
and Kurt Russell's all like, "I need your help." I don't.
Well,
that was a bad
yeah,
Kurt
yeah,
Russell.
and-
ad.
Yeah, and,
Also, Louis Armstrong.
Louis Armstrong as everyone.
and I don't know if I have an answer. I don't know if it's.
I would also offer up that Hobbs is the new brother, right? Like he's the new counterpart to Dom in a lot
Sure.
of ways.
Yeah.
Like that. That's what that feels like to me.
Sure.
But we'll see how that develops.
Right.
A lot of that's based on economics, though, right? Because do they think that Vin Diesel isn't enough to carry that franchise by himself, so they had to bring?
Well, it's his franchise, so I don't know.
Yeah.
If nobody
I
can
agree
make that
with
decision.
you.
I think it just happened
literally,
that The Rock
Nobody can make that decision, but that's his decision.
Oh, he
he owns the stake in it.
Yeah.
That's why when he got in that tip with The Rock,
Yeah.
that was right before Hobbs and Shaw was like had been greenlit because
Yeah.
they wanted to tie it into Fast and Furious. I don't think The Rock. I don't think they brought in The Rock purely as an economic thing. I think he signed up because it was like, hey, I want to get in on this train, and it just so happened that it was like simultaneous with The Rock being in every
Right,
fucking
right,
action
right,
movie
right,
for
yeah.
like 2 years straight.
And instantly, him and Diesel did not get along, and they still don't get along now. So they did not film any scenes together except for that fight scene, which I have stats. 1, Dom lands 18 body blows, 3 body slams, and the win, and Hobbs lands 16 body blows, 5 body slams, and the loss. Because both of those guys have written into the contract that they will only do a fight scene where they have like equal amounts of hits, and also they both can't lose. But at that point, it was Vin's movie, and therefore he takes the loss.
Yep.
And speaking of Vin's movie, I think we could really talk about who's the most important character in the series, and I'm gonna disqualify Dom and Brian, unless you guys really want to talk about Dom and Brian. But
No, I think we've done enough
who do you guys think is the most important character?
outside of them. I just want to say Letty just to
Not
piss
a
you
character.
off.
To me, it's Jesse.
Agreed.
Who's Rabbit? Who gets killed?
Yeah.
Because that cements the idea of what this family is gonna do and how they do it and all the shit. And like when Brian has to reveal that he's a cop, it's because of all that stuff. And I think we talked about this last time. One of the times that we talked about these movies because we discuss them often. Yeah, for me, it's Jesse, but also Letty because it pisses him off.
Who the fuck is Letty?
I'm gonna go with the cross that Dom wears.
As a character.
I don't know.
That,
I don't know.
Basically ends up in every movie.
Yeah.
It's
in every
really
movie.
different places.
Yeah.
It
All
also
at once?
instigates him to do things like
It
go
is,
into
yeah.
what's her name's house and grab it.
Yep.
Yevis.
Yep.
It's also only $20, so you can get it for only $20. Apparently,
It's also one of the great.
that's what she
movie
says. This is
necklaces
$20 is silver.
Where you just have to like pull it and
Yeah,
it comes
and
off
it
like
comes off.
like totally
It's
normal.
magnetic.
That's not
probably.
gonna last in a car race.
Yeah.
That's why he puts it on the thing.
Yeah. Oh, it's gonna stay there.
Or Letty. is
Yeah,
my
as
other
the car's
choice.
flying through the air,
Right.
and he has to.
You're going through 2 buildings.
And
I remember the
I
moment
say,
where I fell in love with the action. And do you have that a moment where like you were like, holy shit, I'm here for all of it from here on out.
5.
So you weren't here for it until
No,
5.
like I think they were fine. I think they were fine before 5.
Yeah.
But and this is why I think it's actually Luke Hobbs. Luke Hobbs made Jesse important because I mean, I like the movies before 5, but we would not be talking about that if it wasn't for the takeoff that happened in 5.
The moment where they're speeding with the train, right, and then Dom and this dude like are next to the train. They have to get off of it, and they go off the train, and the train keeps going, and they fly off the ramp in the air. Like, and then there's a shot where they're like on the cameras watching it go down,
Yeah,
and then they jump off into the water. That sequence, I was like, whatever
we're doing
from here on out, I'm here
good.
for it. Like
This
is, I'm down.
It's a really good sequence. It's a really good sequence. I would say I would be in the same place in 5 because prior to that, like I don't even remember 4.
That was
It's
the
something
one where
that's like
the
the
tunnels?
drug.
Yeah.
Braga.
Yeah.
Yeah, Braga.
Oh, we got Braga.
Braga. Shout out to Braga. What's that actor's name? He's great.
He is great.
Yeah.
We'll call him Braga.
Braga.
Yeah, his name is Arturo Braga. He's just like one of those actors.
But
Like,
like,
hey,
yeah,
I'm only taking roles.
I think
So
prior to
my
that-
character after my name.
Prior to 5, the action was just run of the mill car chases. You could get those in any action movie. You know, a lot of places had good car chase scenes, but no one had literally driving a car off of a mountain into a river and then later driving through walls and
like
with a safe,
pulling a safe through the
They're dragging a safe down the street.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
I love all that fucking absurd, off the wall, wacky shit. I was in the first time I saw one of those Civics go under the.
Oh yeah, you're
I was
right.
like, yo, that's fucking sick. And I was like, oh, these cars are really low. And then I was like, oh, okay. And I hadn't seen that before. So in 1, I was like, yo, this is pretty cool to have these like really like specifically unique and identifiable cars be stealth robbery machines, which doesn't make sense, but then they're like super low and they have like the green glow and they're just kind of like going under, and I'm like, okay, wow. And I was in from that point.
Okay.
Like I was gonna be,
But you were
down to
like,
watch
it doesn't
any-
matter if they make no matter how many sequels I'm in from that.
Yeah, I was like,
See, because for
and I
me,
went to
like
see
it was
2 in
cool.
theater.
I do agree, but I wasn't like, I'm definitely
see
watching
this,
the
yeah.
next one because that was the only instance of something like that in that film that like
yeah.
went beyond the pale of
Just
car
a
race.
quarter mile race.
Yeah.
I think I was like 75% at that point.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
You were
It was
like,
like,
I feel like
Half chub.
the guy that kept going, you know, if we do that, realistically, these are the challenges. But like, they fired that guy before 5. He was like,
Tom Cruise came on set and was like, "You're fired."
and then
What's
jumped
his
on a
name?
chair.
You punch him in the face.
Who's key grip?
Yeah.
You. Punch him in the fucking face really fucking hard.
Really fucking.
these movies are so good, man.
Yeah. Yeah. So wait, what was that just now? We were talking about best and worst,
Character.
and then we're talking about
character.
most important. So did we ever talk about that? I don't think we ever said.
Most
it.
important?
I said
Jesse.
Yeah,
You
you
said
said
Jesse.
Jesse.
I
You
said the
said
cross.
the
Cross. I'm with Luke Hobbs.
With Luke Hobbs.
Also, I did say and Letty. I think Letty is important because I think she helps the rest of the Deckards come into the fold and mean more than just being a villain. Right? Not that she's
Yeah.
well
Okay.
developed. I think that what she
Yeah.
does for
It's
that
pivotal.
film
Yeah.
is like she makes 6 about this right, it makes it way more interesting because
Right.
Dom's like, and you're like, and everybody's like, we need to exhale.
I wish she was in 1 so I could just trash the whole thing quicker.
You wish who was in 1?
Bloody.
She is in 1.
She's in 1?
She's
Yeah.
in one.
Oh, yeah.
Here's the point where we need to run a thing that people hate Michelle Rodriguez. She's amazing. Letty's amazing. I love Letty.
I think I'm with you. I think Jesse's the most important. I think from that point on, this whole world exists because they're not able to just be street racers anymore. He has to go and do all types of other illegal shit all over the world.
That's
That's
it. I mean,
he can't
Gotta
do
go
it.
A-team.
Yeah, he's
but
gotta,
it isn't.
he's gotta-
It isn't like a legit problem to be a criminal until Hobbs is introduced. Because like he's literally
Yeah.
number 1, not in 2 or 3, and in 4, Brian is still the cop, right? The cop.
Right.
But it's not a problem that Dom is a criminal. Like
It is because he's in prison and they're chasing after him, right? Like it's one of those things where they have to,
But Brian isn't.
But,
Like,
like-
you know that the thing is, he's not.
But even then, because Hobbs and his unit get attacked, and like the people that save him are the family.
Yeah,
Like
family.
he lets him go away with the safe when he thinks he's got it, and when he realizes that he's been duped, he laughs. So it's like you're
It's a
kind
really
of like
bad
you're
laugh.
kind of like,
Yeah.
oh, you're part of the crew too.
he probably calls him
We
some
get
bitch.
you. That's how
Does he
they
call
set him
some
up
bitch
to like.
after that?
You crazy
No,
son of a bitch.
no, but
calls
that sounds
everybody
about
some
right.
bitch.
Yeah.
The Rock.
Also,
alright.
that moment where he says "I'm in" is probably one of my favorite movies, my favorite moments in cinema. Just The Rock saying "I'm in" and Dom turning and going,
So this is maybe a little bit off the cuff, but like, do we have any moments like that are like moments where you like just really bizarre, like we love, it kind of resonates, whatever. It's not one of the prompts, but
I mean, one of my favorites is fucking Luke Hobbs when she gives him the file. She's like, it says this. He's like, give me that. That was so unnecessary.
So disrespectful.
It's so disrespectful. It's so
Super
amazing.
disrespectful.
Let me see this. Yeah. It just keeps walking. I was like, that's amazing.
The moment where
Yeah.
where Giselle drops off the wing, and Han like that whole thing is one of my favorite moments of the whole thing. I just love that shit. Like it's so cool. 'Cause I want Giselle. I want that sort of thing. I
"That
want-
love? No, I said, I love their love. Like Han and Giselle,
Yeah.
their relationship is so.
When they're speeding and she's sitting in his lap and eating.
That's pretty
Yes.
awesome. But I think even more so, like they like in that movie they find each other attractive for not just being bombshells. Like they're
Yeah.
both really attractive
Yeah.
people. But like, and then like, it's just this sweet thing, right? That's all like in the films, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, they're a couple, and you love it.
I had a problem with the wing falling, because I was like, that's this fall, right? Like that's basically this fall. I was like,
Going really fast.
Going like 180
yeah,
miles an
yeah,
hour.
yeah. But here's the thing:
Or
they've been
10
going 100 miles an hour this entire fucking franchise, and so few people
They
have
live
died.
at a
You don't.
Like,
you don't.
So few
acclimate to
people have
speed.
died.
No, the only one
Concrete
that,
isn't
that
soft.
like
Doctor,
half
'cause
of
you-
Rio
It
is
only-
dead
it
because
only-
of them.
You can only be saved from a fall like that if Dom jumps out of the car and catches you
And rolls-
shields you with his
Yeah.
body. 'Cause
And lands
Dom
on
was there.
a windshield of
And
a
lands on
car
a windshield.
across
Because he doesn't die.
Yeah. One of my random
doesn't know
favorite
how to die.
moments is in the Brazil one where Roman goes to the, I don't know, the cop, whatever, and the guy at the door, at the window, and he's like, "Oh, come on, brother, help me out." And he goes, "Nope, and you're not my brother." And like he just has a great guy. He tries so hard that whole scene to be just like, "No, get out of here." And he's just like a fucking grumpy dude, but I just love like, "Come on, can you help me out, brother?" He's like, "No, and you're not my brother." And he just like closes the movie.
This goes between this straddles the line between favorite awkward moment and best quote is when Roman's got the gun and he just looks up and he goes, "Why do I smell baby oil?" That is fucking incredible. That's incredible.
He's
Funny.
great, by
All the
way.
baby,
He's
all
so
the
good.
baby
I know,
ale
so
jabs are
good.
great.
Yeah.
So good. So yeah, do we have any thoughts for best quotes that we just kind of like
I
we're
got
kind of
you.
in that area?
I got you.
While you're doing that, I'm gonna intersperse amongst the quotes. I'm gonna do all my favorite Dom grunts,
Nice.
because I think that for me
Right? Fair.
is what it's all about.
I'm gonna let you
Just-
guys rock the quotes out. There's not ever been one that like just hits me. I just like
All right, Kyle. Round one.
Nailed it. Oh, all right. I thought you had like a couple.
I'm gonna
more.
go in
All right.
between.
No, just
Oh, you're
one.
going in between.
Yeah, yeah,
All
yeah.
right. So, first one, Roman, when you gonna give Martin Luther King his car back?
yeah, that was pretty good.
That's so good.
That's such a great car.
That's
That's such a great car.
so good.
though.
it's such an amazing car.
Yeah.
And you're like, but that works though. So I got two rules. I don't remember the first rule. And what's the second rule? Stay the fuck out of my way. Luke Hobbs, fantastic. By the way, we quoted that at the same time in the movie theater, I remember. We were both like, stay the fuck out of my way. Roman and Luke Hobbs, Mia, you better hide your baby oil.
Yeah.
Better hide that big ass forehead.
Luke also says in 8, I'm gonna punch your teeth so far down your throat, you're gonna have to shove your toothbrush right up your ass to brush it. But he also says it so quickly.
Yeah.
It's like, how many lines did you do? Because that's a lot of words.
Yes, that's a lot.
That's an incredible
It's
It's a lot of words.
It's a lot of words.
The last one is, did you call in the cavalry? Did you call in the cavalry? Woman, I am the cavalry.
Yup.
Guys, so you got a fucking huge boner for Luke Hobbs.
Yeah.
Oh, why would I not? Who doesn't?
Yeah, no.
Who's not too much
Like when he
man?
bursts off his cast, when he's like, "Oh, they need me," Boosh, it breaks out of his cast. That's
Time to go.
beautiful.
Daddy's got to go to work.
Doesn't he like jump an ambulance when he shows up, like to knock some? Doesn't he use the ambulance to take a car out?
I think he uses the ambulance to take out a helicopter or a jet or something.
All of that.
Oh yeah, doesn't he just hits a?
He hits
ramp?
like a median.
He hits a median.
He hits a
and it goes
median,
up and knocks
and
down.
it goes up into. I think it's a jet.
One additional point about Luke Hobbs is Luke Hobbs was the reason that Dom became a superhero. Like, he allowed Dom to become a true superhero. Once
Yeah.
Dom was picking up slabs of concrete in 5, I was like, oh, things done
Or
changed.
when he rips the car apart in Cuba for
Yeah.
the first race, he
I
like
was like,
literally tears the
bro,
car apart with his bare hands.
Excuse me?
I got a line. Welcome to Brazil.
Welcome
Nice.
to
Brazil.
What about money will come and go. We all know that. But the most important thing is the people in this room right now. Salute mi familia.
Yeah. That whole thing.
Grunt. There you go. There's that. There's also
No, I just want to say Brazil.
in
Brazil.
order to catch wolves, you need wolves. Let's go hunting. Luke Hobbs.
Yeah.
See, they're giving him jewels.
Oh, also
I mean, he's a jewel maker.
Yeah.
He's a jewel. He's a
Let him
rock,
play.
and he becomes a jewel.
Ooh, teach
Bars.
these devils.
Bars.
Teach these devils. Show me how you drive. I'll show you who you are, Don. To Letty, because she forgot everything, like being a good actor and having.
I'm telling you, people, there's a lot of hate around here.
Yep.
I've been working on people, but
and
it's not
you know
working.
what? I think let's go with just who's the last thing we'll go with. Who's the best hang? Who would you want to just like kick it with? Like, who would you bring here and like just chop it up with us?
Okay, you're bringing Hobbs.
I'm
so
I'm switching
bringing
it.
Hobbs.
I'm switching it from last time. Han.
Yeah.
Going with Han.
Han's hands out.
Han's still
Yeah.
hands
Han's
down
still
my
the-
best time.
Yeah.
Hands down.
And then a tie between Yevers and
My only problem with picking Han is that I
Definitely
don't
Ramsey.
think I think
Come
he'd
on,
be
fam.
really cool, and I think that we were
Ramsey
friends, but I
has
don't
to
think
come.
he'd like me very much.
That's
Who? Han?
What?
Who?
Han.
Oh,
Han?
come
You
on.
don't think he
Han
like
is
you
like
very
the
much?
coolest motherfucker
I think
there
Han
is.
is cool.
That doesn't
pretty
mean
much
that he
everybody.
necessarily like. He's so cool that like we'd be cool or whatever, but he'd just be polite.
He'd be
No,
like, wrap it
no.
up.
Han is the kind of motherfucker that like you start hanging out with him and he'll be like, oh yeah, I get why other people don't like you, but I can find the good in you. Like I
Are you
find
saying
the
other
reason.
people
Hold on.
don't like me? I don't like you.
No, I'm
now.
saying
Hold
about me. Like
He finds the redeeming quality in the really annoying guy from New Orleans.
yeah.
I think Han could make you feel uncertain because he's kind of taciturn. Like, he wouldn't say as much.
Yeah.
And it could bring out like
Yeah.
sudden insecurity.
So you're just
Is that
gonna
fair?
eat your chips there? You're not gonna
Like,
say nothing?
yeah.
Like every chip just looking at you is like a judgment. You're like, oh fuck.
Right, and then if he like
I don't know what to
if he
say.
goes to share, then you're like,
Yeah.
whoa, you thought I was asking for the chips?
Don't force it, man. If you don't want,
I can see him making you feel insecure, but definitely, Han would be that guy that would also be like, oh no, it's cool.
He'd also make
He'd make you
like
feel better.
His entire world.
yeah.
right.
You'd fall in love with him.
Nobody else
Absolutely.
here.
Who's the worst hang? Who's the worst hang?
You know what I think. She don't remember shit. What are we gonna talk about?
Roman, dude, Roman. At a certain point, because he never turns it off. At a certain
Yeah,
point,
I
I'd be
feel
like,
like-
Roman, chill the fuck out. He's like, why? So like, you can't even no.
I agree with you, but I think Letty's the worst hang because I gotta like drag her places. She doesn't. There's nothing to her. There's nothing.
I'd
to
almost rather have a blank or a nondescript person without anything than like the guy who just won't shut the fuck up and like makes everything about him.
Yeah.
I feel like
Is
me and Letty
competing
would be
with
tight
you.
because
Yeah, I
I'm
think
the only
about,
one that
like
would
the
like.
whole I think Roman's pretty annoying, and I also feel like Luke Hobbs.
Yeah, Hobbs would be a
tough
terrible hang.
It'd be
I think it'd be a tough
It'd be
hang.
I think he'd be a terrible hang.
I think I would get along with
I'd
him.
have a good time.
I would spend the whole time trying to get his approval, and I'd get it, and that's why it would be fun.
Hobbs?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah.
But here's the thing: you would never get Hobbs's approval because he would want you to like break through a wall and like come back with a criminal, and then
Or
he'd
call
be
you
like,
some bitch.
I would do my version of that. I'd make him a brisket.
"No, you'd have to save his life."
He's not
You
gonna
don't-
eat no damn
you don't-
brisket.
With the
You-
brisket, he's like, "I'm so
Brisket on
hungry."
cheat day.
Brisket.
Like,
You
cheat
some
day? So we're hanging on a Friday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think House would be an all.
And then he cancels it. I'm standing in front of a smoker, like.
He's like, hey,
you go out
I
with
can't
him.
get this one spot between
Right.
my shoulder blades. Can you just
Thanks, bud.
baby oil that for me?
You're like, oh, you
some
buddy.
bitch.
You some bitch.
He also feels like he'd be that dude, like you're hanging out, he's like, so this is a club. You're like, what the fuck?
Why are you yelling?
Calm down,
Is
bro.
Deckershaw the
It's
one
just a
that's with
bar.
Letty?
Deckard Shaw
Deckard Shaw
is Statham.
Save them, yeah.
What his brother, the other
Owen
one.
Shaw.
Owen.
He would be like, I don't think he'd ever turn off and be chill. Like you'd be talking about getting a pizza and be like, pizza. We could kill them with a pizza. Like, yo, chill out,
Bro.
man. Like,
We're just hungry.
shoot the delivery driver. Why?
Take the little race car. Bro, ease up.
Take the car that flips other cars.
They
with the little-
deliver.
All right, so let's just kind of do our parting shots now. I guess we're to the end. Anybody want to go down the row?
I mean,
Last.
the simple fact is this is the reason why we meet up and talk, right? Like this franchise is the reason why we do this. So I think all respect's due to a product that goes above and beyond as much as it can at every turn, seemingly in all of the ways that are important, including just a high quality product. I mean, as movies get more expensive, it's nice to have something that justifies the expense.
Yeah.
Actually, I took a girl on a date to see Seven, and she had a blast.
That's awesome.
She had a blast.
I mean,
Like,
why wouldn't she?
she came in and she was
Is
like,
a
well,
blast.
this seems silly, and I was like, it is.
Yeah, that's the point.
It is. Just don't worry about it. And she
Yeah.
was like, okay, great. And I think there's a lot of things that I think people turn off from based on like explosions and car chases seeming dumb, but I
Right.
think they do it in a pretty artful way.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think though Paul Walker's gone, I still feel the Familia
Yeah.
is
No.
present
Yeah.
That word.
and very strong.
Yep.
I love this franchise, and I hope that I can continue to say it, and that like it doesn't take a dive along the way. And if it does, there's enough for me to always fall back on and enjoy what I got so far. But I think that's the thing that I like about it the most. That even with you guys who do or don't agree about certain parts of it, like this is the thing that I could give a fuck what anybody's opinion about it
Yeah.
is.
Right,
like
right.
it's my thing, and I'm always gonna
Right,
enjoy it. I
right.
don't care how many times I hear, how many like. I'm the butt of jokes at like work, and people know that I'm the Fast and the Furious guy, and it always comes up, and like I wear that with a badge of honor because like I don't care, like
Right.
I love
Right.
what I get out of them, and that's the most important thing to me. That like through 8 films, and even the Hobbs and Shaws and the other stuff, like the content is amazing content that I enjoy.
Word.
Yeah, I think, riding on the same kind of wave, it's just so much, like I said earlier, it's just so much fun.
Yeah.
For me, watching film is always like about escaping reality. Telling stories is important, but like with film specifically, it's like a 2 hours where you don't have to worry about shit,
Yeah.
and it's just so much fun to like fall into this world, and they like no matter how silly or ridiculous it is, it makes sense for some reason, and I think
Because
that's
of Familia.
because of
Yeah.
family.
Yeah.
Is the one I was gonna
coming
use.
together.
Oh.
We're all coming together.
Sorry. Yeah.
So yeah, like I think very similarly, like I know that Paul Walker's gone, but I think at that point, and no disrespect to Paul Walker's dead or not dead family, if they ever hear this, he's dead, so it doesn't matter. He's not gonna come back and be like,
He
bro, that was rude.
Yeah.
Man,
But like
you have to call my family like that?
yeah, come on,
Bro.
I just
Whoa.
think I think that they had set something up they have set something up that literally no longer depends on specific actors.
Yeah.
When you can just draw back to a character and a theme and do it over and over, and they're doing so well with creating this literal world. And to me, it parallels my favorite art form in the world, which is comic books.
Right.
And that's what they're doing. They're creating this universe of storytelling that they can do all kinds of stuff with.
Can I go? I want you to have the last word.
Yeah, I got.
I actually, speaking of the comic book thing, this series makes me think of like being a kid and talking about the A-Team.
Yeah.
Because everybody wanted to talk about who they wanted to be.
Yeah.
And obviously I'm way too old for that shit now, but like, you still feel that connection with
Are
these
you
people.
though?
Yeah, I'm like,
But like,
I
Well,
feel like you want to tell us who you want to be.
Along those lines, something that I was thinking of as you guys were talking, and a quick question that I know we're wrapping it up and we can, but like, one of the things that I really like about the movies is that I imagine along the whys and everything that like, that's that group of friends doing those cool things, and I, in my head, sit there sometimes and go, our group of friends could do that same shit. Like, it's us doing that. Like, I project us onto it. So the quick question is,
Familia.
who? So far, all I got is that you're ludicrous, but I don't know.
Because I set up the mics.
Yeah. And then
Cringe face.
I'm
like
Paul Walker, and you're
You gonna call him Roman?
no.
Are you gonna call him Han?
Shaw.
Because that's racist.
I think I'm Shaw.
I think I'm Han.
I think you are. You are.
I feel like I'm Shaw.
But it's also racist.
It's totally non-racistly.
Yeah, no.
Non.
No, I'm calling you
Anti-problematically.
you racist.
The only
You're
reason-
calling yourself an
The only
Asian.
reason that I don't think you're Shaw is only because you don't have that adherence to like regimen and law and order and like.
Are you kidding? He went for a run
what are you
today and it was
talking
like 90 degrees.
They're all physically fit. They'll take care of themselves. But like, I don't see you being a police officer. I don't see you as a police officer. I don't see you.
But
as someone-
Shaw isn't a
Shaw-
police
Shaw
officer.
is
He's a
a bad-
criminal.
Shaw.
Shaw Statham.
I was thinking about Hobbs. Sorry.
No.
Shaw.
No, I do.
Shaw.
I do
Yeah.
see him as a Shaw
Yeah, totally.
more than Hobbs.
Yeah. My bad.
Yeah, I feel like Shaw has more fun beating
I'm
people
Jesse.
up than Hobbs does. I think Hobbs
Yeah.
is just like,
And there's always that thought of like, catch me.
yeah.
That's just how I look like.
Okay.
So are you saying you're Giselle and you want Vin to catch you?
Or are you saying you're Letty and you want Dom to catch
I'm definitely not saying I'm ready.
you? I think you are.
We don't even play like that.
I think just in closing, I think you guys have already brought it out. Everything that's been said, right? This is such a fun franchise. And I think this is one of the first and only franchises where I realized that I was in no matter how many numbers they threw behind it, right? And I don't think that exists for me with any other franchise. Still, to this day. To this day.
To this
day.
Welcome to Brazil.
I don't
Still doesn't need to be said.
welcome to Brazil.
weren't
Why did I
there-
just say that? No,
You weren't there for all the Marvels?
No, but Marvel didn't make me go like, I really care about. I haven't watched any of the Ant-Man movies.
Oh no, you gotta watch them. They're so good.
I'm
You
okay.
don't gotta watch.
The Ant-Man movies?
And so,
I like him.
Oh my God.
I like the
and
first one.
I'm sure they're fine, but I'm not going like I have to know
Yeah.
and be here for every one of these people.
Fair enough.
Whereas this one, I am just, yeah, you could slap any number at the end of any combination of Fast, Furious, or F words,
Yeah.
and I'm in, right? And I think that's why we're all here, because this has all the things we're talking about. It's fun, there's heart to it, and you're right, they have built something that does not need any particular character, because that sort of universe is rich with this sort of, these random heroes and anti-heroes that kind of...
Now it's just a
pop in.
situation where like if one of us were to bring a person that the other three of us didn't know, now it's at that point where it's like, all right,
And
if
we
Kyle
fall
brought
in.
him,
Right,
Yeah.
we fall in.
yeah.
All right, cool. I also think going to the comic book thing, I think what this does better, in a way that's better than the Marvel Universe, is that reading comic books allows you to pour your humanity into those people, right? Like into the superheroes. I actually think that gets removed in movie form in the Marvel Universe. And like, that's just how I feel.
I can see that.
I do want to touch just very quickly on a couple of things, just because I don't want to compare the two, because
No.
they're entirely different. I'm
I'm not comparing them. I'm not comparing them.
but I mean, you're using one to.
No. I'm saying that the thing about the comic book,
Right. But here, I think there's just the only reason I would say they're different and not even comparable is because Fast and Furious has created everything from scratch. They have full
no
ownership of it.
Yeah.
There's no coming in expecting anything.
Right.
Versus going in and watching a movie of probably let's
now
say
now there is.
well, but
Now 9 is going to be judged against the do you live in the canon? Do you
right?
follow
But
the rules?
I would say
but I know what
even
you're saying.
I would say even outside of that, because Marvel comics are still being written.
Right.
Like Daredevil is still having runs. Iron Man still has a run. There's still Avengers comics, and some of them are fantastic. There have been some amazing runs over the last 20 years, and some of them earlier ones, like from 30 years ago, they have been making into movies because they want us to go see them.
Right.
And they haven't been doing it the justice that we saw in it, right? Because we remember reading them at a time in our life where we were like, this is phenomenal, and there's parts of me in here.
Right.
And I think that is part of the issue with Marvel, which we're not talking about. But I think that's part of the benefit for Fast and Furious.
There's no baked in,
right? Because there is
source.
no, you are invested in those characters because you're not getting those characters
You're
anywhere else.
You're also discovering them in
That's what
real
he's saying.
time, right?
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah,
already have
exactly.
a preconceived. Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. That's
Yeah.
literally what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
Right? Is like.
But I wanted to use a whole lot more words to say.
And disagree with it.
But
I disagree with you, but yes.
But this is what you're saying with a lot of words.
so
Yeah.
I feel like we knocked that shit out
That was
pretty
awesome.
quick. I think once again we keep going back to these series because, like you said, you can pour your humanity into these characters at any given time, right? For whatever given actions that they take, and then you can start to understand why they feel and do the things they do.
Yeah, maybe
and
you
then why
should do
they
that for
things
Letty.
like- right.
Maybe you should
'Cause-
pour your humanity into Letty, huh?
Exactly. He's gonna try to pour something in a little bit.
I ain't pouring shit. I'm pouring.
But that said,
Remember.
that's Fast and Furious. Thanks for checking
Yeah.
us out. Hit us with a like and a tag, etc. I don't even know how to do the ending thing. but
That sounds right.